The moment they walk back into the room, the moment their eyes find yours after all that silence, they will do one thing before anything else. They will check your face for permission to exist. Not hello, not an apology, not a word, they scan you. They read the micro muscles around your mouth, the set of your jaw, the angle of your shoulders, and in that half second, they are asking the only question that has ever mattered to them. Am I safe here? Am I allowed to be in this space with you? And then, and only then, do they speak. And what they say will sound casual, will sound small, will sound like nothing happened. And that is the part that breaks people. That is the part that makes you think they never cared. But I'm here to tell you, that is a distortion. That is deletion. That is you reading the map upside down and calling it the territory. Now listen to me carefully. If you are sitting with this right now, if someone went quiet on you, if the silence stretched into weeks, months, maybe years, and now they are back, or you are preparing for the moment they might be back, I need you to hear something before the story takes you. You don't experience life. You experience the life you focus on. There is a million things happening in the space between two people who haven't spoken in a long time, and most of them you will never notice unless you consciously decide to look for them. Let me say that again. You decide what you look for, and what you look for is what you find, and what you find becomes the meaning, and the meaning becomes the emotion, and the emotion becomes the state, and the state becomes the behavior, and the behavior becomes the result. And the result becomes the story you tell yourself about who you are and who they are and what love is and what loyalty means, all of it. From one decision about where to put your attention in the first 3 seconds. So what do I mean by that? I mean, there's 3 decisions you make every moment of your life. The first decision is what you focus on. The second decision is what it means. The third decision is what you're going to do about it. And most people, all of us, me included for years, we make those 3 decisions unconsciously. We let the environment make them for us. We let the old wound make them for us. We let the story we built when we were 17 or 7 or 23 make them for the rest of our lives. And then we wonder why the same pattern keeps showing up. Why the same silence keeps happening. Why the same person keeps walking away and walking back and walking away, and we keep standing in the same spot with the same ache in the same chest. Here's the truth. The avoidant is not your enemy. The avoidant is not broken. The avoidant is not playing a game with you. The avoidant is running a program that was written before they had language, before they had choice, before they had any say in the matter. And Carl Jung, God bless him, saw this 100 years ago. He said the shadow does not announce itself, it does not knock. It does not send a text saying, hey, I'm the part of me I cannot look at, and I'm about to run your entire relational life from the basement. No, the shadow simply acts. And the person acting from it genuinely believes they are choosing. They believe the withdrawal is a choice. They believe the silence is freedom. They believe that if they just get enough distance, the thing that's eating them will stop eating them. It's not freedom. It's compulsion dressed as freedom. And I want you to see this. When that person sees you again after the long silence, the very first thing that happens is not emotional. It is neurological. Their nervous system fires before their conscious mind catches up. The amygdala lights up. The body remembers. The body says, here is the person who represents closeness, and closeness once meant danger, and danger means I must manage the threat. And the management looks like calm, looks like a small smile, looks like, hey, how have you been? Looks like nothing. And you, standing there with your heart in your hands, you feel the nothing like a knife. Because you wanted the flood. You wanted them to break. You wanted them to say, I'm sorry, I was terrified, I couldn't handle it, I needed you, and I ran. You wanted the movie scene. And they gave you a handshake. And you walked away thinking, they never loved me. They never cared. The silence meant I was nothing to them. I don't think so. I believe this. The silence was the loudest thing they ever did. The silence was them screaming without sound. The silence was the only language their body knew for saying, I am not equipped for this level of feeling, and I will die if I stay in it without a map. That's what the silence was. Not rejection, not indifference, a survival response, a pattern so old it predates their name. Now let me be honest with you. I grew up in a house where the anger was the weather. You didn't predict it. You didn't negotiate with it. You survived it. And the lesson my nervous system wrote, the lesson it carved into me before I was old enough to question it, was this: closeness is unpredictable. Love is a room where the furniture might start flying, and so for years, I ran on a fuel that was not love, it was push, it was prove. It was, I will make myself so undeniably valuable that no one can disappear on me, because if they do, it won't matter, because I built this alone. I was the corner, I was the coach, I was the audience. And that fuel, that push, it works, it builds things, it gets you across the line. But it does not last. It is a fire that eats its own wood. And one day you wake up and the achievement is there, and the joy is not. The money is there and the connection is not. The applause is there and the person you wanted it from is not. I tell you that because I need you to understand something about the person who went silent on you. They are running on a fuel that does not last either. The fuel of distance. The fuel of, if I don't need anyone, no one can leave. The fuel of, if I control the exit, I will never be trapped. And it works. For a while, it keeps them safe. It keeps the old wound quiet. But it does not build a life. It builds a fortress. And a fortress is just a prison with better architecture. You want to know why they do what they do the moment they see you again? Why the small talk? Why the careful eyes? Why the way they stand a little too far away, angled toward the door like a deer in a clearing? It's because in that moment, two systems are in collision. The system that ran them into silence, the old program, the shadow, the thing Jung said we must integrate or it will run us from the dark. And the system that remembers you, that remembers the warmth, that remembers that you were safe, or you were close to safe, or you were the safest thing they had in a long time. And those two systems hit each other in the body at the same time. And the body does what the body always does under collision. It freezes, it performs, it goes small, it says, hey, good to see you. And inside they are in a storm. It's not indifference. It's overload. It's not that they don't feel. It's that they feel too much, and the only valve they know is to shut the system down. And here's where you have a choice. Right now, in this moment, in the next moment you see them or think about seeing them or hear their name or see their face on a screen, you have the three decisions. What are you going to focus on? What are you going to make it mean? What are you going to do? And if you focus on the small talk, on the casual tone, on the way they didn't cry, on the way they didn't reach for you, on the way they acted like the silence was a Tuesday afternoon and not a year of your life spent rebuilding yourself from the floor, if you focus on that, the meaning writes itself. They didn't care. I was foolish. The love was one-directional. And the emotion follows, and the state follows. And you walk out of that encounter smaller than you walked in. And that is not what you owe yourself. But if you focus on the eyes, if you focus on the half-second scan, if you focus on the fact that they came back at all, that they let you see them again, that the fortress door cracked open even a fraction, if you focus on that, the meaning shifts. They were afraid, and they came anyway. The silence was not about my worth. It was about their capacity. And the emotion shifts, and the state shifts. And you walk out of that encounter with your dignity intact and your heart still open. Both worlds exist. The external we can only influence. The internal we can control. You cannot make them break open. You cannot make them say the words you need. But you can control what you focus on, and in that control, you control your life. Because here's what I know. I've sat with people, thousands of them, 5 million humans in rooms and seminars and one-on-ones over decades. And the ones who change, the ones who actually shift, they are not the smartest people in the room. They are not the ones with the best vocabulary or the cleanest childhoods or the most resources. They are the ones who refuse to settle for the story they were handed. They look at the pattern and they say, this is not me. This is what happened to me. And those are different sentences. Those are different lives. And Jung understood this. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The avoidant calls the silence freedom, calls the withdrawal self-sufficiency, calls the numbness peace. And you, on the other side of the silence, you call it rejection. You call it proof that you are too much, or not enough, or fundamentally unlovable. And both of you are calling the unconscious by a different name and letting it steer the ship. And the ship goes in circles, round and round, the same port, the same storm, the same retreat. Now what does that mean to you? It means the next time they appear, the next time the silence breaks, and they are standing in front of you doing the small voice and the careful smile, you get to make a new decision. Not for them, for you. You get to decide that their pattern is not your verdict. You get to decide that their fear is not your identity. You get to decide that the love you gave during the silence, the love you gave to your own rebuilding, the mornings you got up when you didn't want to, the nights you chose yourself over the story of them, that was not wasted. That was the foundation. That was you laying the immutables. The non-negotiable floor beneath your life that says, I am here whether they are or not. I am whole whether they see me or not. And I want to give you something you can do. Right now, tonight, before the next time you see them or think about them. It takes less than 90 seconds. And it is non-negotiable if you want to shift the pattern. Here it is. You sit down, you close your eyes, you take 3 breaths that go all the way into your belly. Slow, 4 counts in, 6 counts out. And then you say, out loud if you can, in a whisper if you must, I release the story that their silence was my sentence. I release the meaning I built in the dark. I release the belief that their fear is evidence of my unworthiness. And then you add 1 line. I choose what I focus on, and I choose what it means, and I choose what I do next. 3 decisions, spoken aloud, into the room, into your own ears, so your body hears you. So the nervous system registers that the old program has been interrupted, that you are no longer running on the fuel of their absence. You are running on the fuel of your own decision. Do that tonight. Do it before you sleep. Do it again in the morning. Do it the moment before you see them if that moment comes. It is the simplest way to take back the 3 decisions from the unconscious and put them in your own hands. It is not magic. It is not a mantra. It is a pattern interrupt. It is you telling your own nervous system, I am the meaning maker now. Not the old wound. Not the silence. Not the story I built at 3 in the morning when they didn't text back. Me. I am the meaning maker. But here's the thing. And I need you to hear this part. This is the part that will stay with you. If you suffered in a way that made you the one who waited, the one who watched the door, the one who learned early that the people you loved might go quiet and not come back for a long time, if that was your childhood, if that was the handbook you were handed before you could read, you might still carry it. You might still be scanning every silence for the old abandonment. You might still be building the meaning before the evidence arrives. And I want you to do something that is very hard and very free. I want you to meet who you are now, the adult, the one who survived, the one who built a life in the middle of the silence, the one who is listening to this right now with a body that made it through. And I want you to look back at that kid who waited by the window, that kid who decided, if I am quiet enough, if I need nothing, if I am easy, maybe they will stay. Look at that kid with the eyes you have now and say this. The fact that you were alone means as an adult you are self-sufficient. The fact that nobody came means you learned to come for yourself. The fact that the silence was long means you know how to build something in the quiet that no one can take from you. The fact that you were not chosen first means you became someone who chooses themselves, and that is a power no one can revoke. It was a handbook of survival in disguise. Every wound was a training. Every absence was a forge. And you did not just survive it. You became the person who can sit in a room with someone who went silent and not collapse. You became the person who can feel the ache and still make a decision. That is not damage. That is architecture. That is the invisible force that built you into the human sitting here right now, breathing, listening, still here, still choosing. And the avoidant, the one who went quiet, they have their own handbook, their own childhood room where the lesson was, if I get close, I will be consumed. If I show you what I need, you will use it. If I stay, I will lose myself. And so they learned to leave before the leaving could be done to them. They learned to control the disappearance. And Jung would say, that is the shadow wearing the mask of autonomy. That is the unconscious running the show and calling it independence. And the tragedy, the real tragedy, is that the avoidant and the anxious, the one who runs and the one who chases, they are 2 halves of the same wound looking for the other half to heal them. And neither can heal the other. Only they can heal themselves. Only you can heal you. So when they come back, when the silence breaks and they are standing there doing the small voice, you are not obligated to fix them. You are not obligated to be the safe room they never had. You are not obligated to perform understanding before you have felt your own grief. You are allowed to say, I'm glad you're here, and also, I need a minute. You are allowed to say, I missed you, and also, the silence hurt, and I need you to know that. You are allowed to hold both, the love and the wound, the welcome and the boundary, both, at the same time. That is not contradiction, that is maturity. That is you operating from the conscious mind instead of the old program. If you focus on what you cannot control, their timeline, their capacity, their words, their silence, their next move, your energy goes there and you are powerless. If you control what you focus on, your own meaning, your own state, your own next action, you control your life. Both worlds exist. The external we can only influence. The internal we can control. And the fastest way, the simplest way to shift from powerlessness to power is to stop trying to decode them and start deciding you. What do you want? What do you need? What is non-negotiable for your own soul? And then you build from there, not from their behavior, from your decision. I had a teacher once who told me, wishes without work are delusions, and work without a why is just effort, and I've carried that for decades. Because it's true. You can wish the avoidant would come back and say everything you need to hear. You can wish the silence would retroactively become a misunderstanding. You can wish they would be different. And the wish will keep you small. It will keep you in the waiting room. It will keep your eyes on the door. But if you find a why that is bigger than them, if you find a purpose that pulls you forward instead of the push of trying to make them see you, if you find something you care about more than the story of their silence, the whole architecture shifts. You stop orbiting, you start moving, and the movement is the medicine. The movement is the thing that tells your nervous system, I am not the kid by the window anymore. I am the one who walks. I am the one who builds. I am the one who decides. Find something you care about more than yourself, and you will never be small again. Give back. Give someone what they need. Give your energy to a project, a person, a community, a craft, a morning ritual that pulls you out of bed with a reason that has nothing to do with whether they texted back. And something shifts. The fuel changes. It stops being push. It stops being I will prove I am enough, and it becomes pull. It becomes I am going towards something that lights me up, and the people who are meant to be on the journey will be on the journey, and the ones who aren't, I release with love. Not with bitterness. With love. Because they were part of the forging. They were part of the handbook. They were the silence that taught you your own voice. And the hero's journey, the real one, not the movie version, the one where you are in the cave and the dragon is not outside. The dragon is the story you keep telling yourself about what the silence meant. The dragon is the belief that their withdrawal was evidence of your defect. The dragon is the meaning you made in the dark and never questioned. You slay that dragon not by fighting it, but by looking at it and saying, I see you. You kept me safe when I was young. You kept me from hoping too much. You kept me from being destroyed by the waiting. Thank you, and I don't need you anymore. I have new decisions now. I have new focus, I have a new meaning, and I am going to build the next chapter from this decision, not from the old one. You become the hero not when the silence ends. You become the hero when the silence stops defining you. And I know I'm right about this, because I've seen it, in rooms with thousands of people. In the eyes of a woman who spent 4 years waiting for a man to come back from his own fortress, and the day she stopped waiting, the day she said, I am the thing I've been waiting for, something in her face changed. Something in her posture. Something in the way she breathed. And he came back 3 weeks later, and it didn't matter anymore. Not because she didn't love him. Because she loved herself first. Because the foundation was laid. Because the immutables were set. And from that foundation, she could meet him without collapsing. Could welcome him without losing herself. Could say, I'm here, and also, I am not the same person who waited. I am the person who built. And that is the level. That is the next level. That is life on your terms, not their terms, not the silence's terms, yours. So here's what I want you to take from this. Not a lesson, not a list, a recognition. The moment they see you again, the moment the silence breaks, and they do the small voice and the careful eyes, you get to decide what that moment is. You get to be the meaning maker. You get to focus on what is true instead of what the old wound wants to make true. You get to say, their fear is not my verdict. Their pattern is not my identity. Their silence was their survival, And my survival looks different now. My survival looks like building, like choosing, like deciding what I focus on and refusing to let the old program decide it for me. Quality of life is the quality of your emotions. And the quality of your emotions is the quality of your focus. And the quality of your focus is a decision, and the decision is yours, every moment. Right now. The next one. The one where they walk back in. The one where they don't. The one where you stop looking at the door and start looking at the life you are building with your own two hands. You owe it to you to become who you really are. Not the one who waited. Not the one who decoded. Not the one who built a meaning in the dark and called it truth. You owe it to you to be the one who decides. Who focuses, who makes the meaning, who walks into the room when they walk into the room and says with your whole chest, I am here, I am whole, I am not the silence, I am what I built in the silence, and that is an amazing gift. The gift you gave yourself when no one else was giving. The gift of your own attention, your own focus, your own decision to be the meaning maker in a world that will try to hand you meanings you never chose. Life happens for you, not to you, and it's your job to figure it out. The silence happened for you, the distance happened for you, the ache happened for you, not to punish you, to build you, to show you what you could survive, to show you that the person you were looking for in them was in you the whole time. And now you know, and now you can't unknow it, and now the next chapter is written in a hand that is yours. This is your hero's journey, and it doesn't end when the silence breaks. It continues in every decision you make after. In every morning you choose focus over story. In every moment you decide what it means instead of letting the old wound decide. In every act of giving back, of building, of showing up for someone else the way you wished someone had shown up for you, the journey continues. It continues in the lives you change. It continues in the version of you that the kid by the window is watching right now, saying, look at us. Look at what we built from the quiet. Look at what we made from the silence. You can't lose what you deserve, and you deserve the life where the silence doesn't own you, where the return doesn't undo you, where you stand in your own center and the storm moves around you and you are still here, still breathing, still deciding, still the meaning maker, still the one who chose focus over fear, still here. Decide now, you my friend, decide.